Welcome to this week's Future Toolbox podcast. We explore the Z to A of life skills, where each letter stands for a topic and essential tool to help you get ahead in life. Meet Jules and Mark, creators of the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox, and enjoy their straightforward approach to creating growth mindsets that help people turn their dreams into realities. Whether you're a teen in education, a parent, a teacher, or part of a community group, start creating positive habits from today.
Hello and welcome to this week's Z to A podcast with me, Jules, and Mark from the multi-award-winning Future Toolbox.
Hello, everybody.
Now, our podcast is where we pick a letter and a topic and discuss how you can use our tools or tips to improve your own personal development and life. What is this week's letter?
So this week's letter we've picked is F for friendships. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of having solid friendships.
Yes, that's really interesting, actually. And what is a solid friendship?
So yeah, I guess friendships mean different things to different people, but ultimately it'd be somebody that you can rely on, somebody you can trust, somebody you can share good times with, or they could be there for the bad times or tough times. It might be somebody who helps you out of a tricky situation, but ultimately I guess it's somebody you'd have a relationship with for quite some time.
Well, yes and no, I would guess, because friends, they come and go for lots of different reasons. Somebody that you knew perhaps when you were 7 years old, you may not be friends with them now. And that's not because you've fallen out, it's because possibly you've just gone in totally different directions. And, you know, they might be miles away living in a completely different country and you just have lost that contact. Doesn't mean that you wouldn't be friends if you met up with them, but people do come in and out of your life at different times for, again, different reasons. For example, if you go to work at one place, you will make some friends there, won't you?
Yeah.
But then if they leave or you leave, then sometimes you just lose contact with them.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I remember leaving jobs in the past where people always say them lines, they go, oh, stay in touch,
Yeah.
And then you never do.
And you don't always do that,
no.
do you? Sometimes you do. Have you got anybody that you're still friends with that maybe, you know, when you were younger and you're sort of teens that you're still in contact with?
Yeah, there's a number of people. One that springs to mind, when I left school at 16 and I went out to work, I changed my circle of friends a little bit. And that was just because I left school, it was different, life was different. But I met a mate called Justin and we sort of clicked really, really quickly because we had a lot of things in common due to our past, our backgrounds and everything. And we just found we were there for each other, supporting each other, chatting to each other, having a good time, doing all the things that teenage lads would do, of course. But all these years on, he now lives in Canada. We live in Lanzarote. Whenever we meet up, it's almost like no time's passed in between. We chat loads on Messenger pretty much every week still to this day. And even though we probably see each other once every 2 years, yeah, the friendship and the bond there is still really, really strong. And he was almost one of the go-to people when I said, look, I'm thinking about emigrating. He was one of the people I'd talk to first because he'd done that himself.
He was your best man at our wedding.
He was indeed, absolutely.
And it was lucky that at the time that we had arranged, or you actually arranged for us to get married, he was in the UK and able to come along, wasn't he? And that wasn't planned at all. That just happened, didn't it?
Our wedding was very loosely planned, wasn't it? Which was great. But yeah, it is that thing. It's about having somebody that you can rely on, somebody you can trust. And again, whenever we talk, it's always quite fun or quite deep. There might be some memories in there from, do you remember when we used to do this? He messaged me the other day and said he was listening to some music that we used to listen to, which was a Pet Shop Boys song, and we were massively into that band and still are. And he said, wow, do you know what? I haven't listened to this for years, and it's just taken me back to a sort of special place that we shared many years ago.
Aww.
So yeah, I suppose that's a definition of a really, really good friendship
That's
for me.
a good friendship, almost what you call a lifelong friendship. You know, not everybody has that. Not everybody needs that. And there's nothing wrong if you haven't got lifelong friends because, as we said earlier, people come in and out of your lives for specific reasons.
Yeah, because we hear that quite a lot in school where people say to their friends that we're going to be friends, we're going to be best mates forever. And that can sometimes be a little bit, I use the word dangerous here because it sounds exciting, but that can be sometimes a little bit dangerous because you might follow the path that your friend wants you to follow, or they may follow your path, and you end up going to the same I don't know, sixth form, university or whatever, and it might not be the right choice. So sometimes you have to make decisions and choices that aren't necessarily what your friend would do or even approve of. So yeah, I met Justin by complete chance. He just happened to be that he was going out with a girl that I knew at the time, and that's how we sort of met randomly. But where do you meet friends? How do you find them?
Well, you don't go. I don't think you go out into the street and sort of stop people and say, "Will you be my friend?"
No, it's not a friend shop in town or anything, is it?
It's not a friend shop.
I'm going to go buy myself a friend, or I found one in the drawer.
Yeah, no, but you meet people through all sorts of walks in life, don't you? So initially, as you're growing up, it's going to mostly be via school, I would think.
Yeah.
So as you go through life, you will meet people through other things, like if you take up a hobby like a sport. And then obviously those people, they're going to be like-minded people because they're enjoying that sport as well. So for example, when I was at school, I used to gymnastics was my big thing, and I would go and train at lunchtime, after school, and that. So all my friends at that point were gymnasts.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, the running community is massive for my friendship base. And funny enough, we've just had a message on Facebook this week because I was a committee member of our running club, Northampton Road Runners, for 14 years. Obviously, being 1,800 miles away, it makes it a little bit more difficult to arrange things in Northampton and greet people on club nights. So yeah, I sort of stood down from the committee, which was really hard to do because that's been a big part of my life. And a lot of people went onto the Facebook post that our chairman put and were putting really, really nice comments. And it was actually really emotional. It took me a good 12 hours to reply to them all. But what I've realised from that is the friendships that I got from these people, they were saying nice things about me, like, you really encourage me, you're really friendly. But I got thinking and thought, hold on a second, these guys have done a lot for me. So when I was going through some tough times, they've picked me up. When I've gone out and run a particular event that I've never done before, there's always somebody there who's helped me and said, yeah, you can do this. Or if I've had a bad race or something like that, there's somebody who just put their arm around me and say, yeah, do you know what? So those sort of friendships I've met from a social community circle, which in this case is running. There's a lot of lifelong friendships there where I wouldn't have met those people but for the common interests that we had.
Yeah, and quite a lot of them are coming over in a couple of months to do the Lanzarote Marathon. So we're really excited to be meeting them again very, very soon. But yeah, hobbies. Obviously, if you finish your education and you go out to work, you're going to meet new people there and you'll make friendships within your work, and then you'll start socialising with that.
I met you at work.
I was going to say,
you're my best friend.
At work.
You're my best friend, so there you go.
Look what happened there. Something these days that wasn't around when we were growing up is the internet, and you're going to meet people on the internet, aren't you?
Yeah, social media. There's two sides that way. You could end up meeting the wrong person or meeting somebody who perceives themselves to be somebody different. But yeah, you hear things like online dating success these days. So we're talking about love and friendship there. My sister's been married for a few years now to a guy that she met online dating, and they were absolutely spot on. And
made for each other.
He's an amazing guy as well. So yeah, there's friendships through the internet. We obviously all started back in the days before Facebook. Do you remember Friends Reunited?
Oh gosh, yes, I do.
And there'll be some people sitting here scratching their heads going, oh, I remember that, yeah.
Well, some people are thinking, what are they talking about?
Yeah, well, if you're a teenager, you will be, because it was before that. Social media is massive for opening the doors to meet people that you probably wouldn't have done before.
Yeah. Something that's just popped into my mind was when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Obviously, not the greatest moment of my life. However, through a wonderful charity that had been started in Northampton, Breast Friends Northamptonshire, I've met some amazing people, some supportive people, and people that I would love to say are going to be my friends always now, because we got that commonality through the illness, but we've supported each other, seen ourselves go through some tough times and come out the other end. And I think that bond stays forever. Whether you see them every week or talk to them, it doesn't matter. When we do catch up, whether it be via the internet or face-to-face, that bond is always there.
Yeah, that is very true, because sometimes, as you say, adversity brings friendship. And we're saying about solid friendships. is about people being there for each other, supporting each other, and maybe thinking, do you know what, I've been through that. That was pretty rough. I can help you. You can help me, or whatever the case may be.
Friendships are also really, really good to stop that feeling of loneliness or isolation as well.
Yeah, massively.
Surround yourself with some positive people.
That is very true, because obviously we've moved here to Lanzarote very recently. A lot of people think, yeah, this is great. You move into a holiday place, a paradise island, whatever you want to call it. The sun's always shining. But it's really, really important that you don't isolate yourselves.
Yes.
When we researched into emigrating, moving away, you're obviously leaving a life behind where you have friends that you see every single day or every single week or casually or whatever. And then you move to a completely new place and you can very quickly feel isolated. And one thing that was really, really important to us moving here is we had friends that already lived on the island, but then we managed to meet the whole group through the Ministry of Fitness crew that we've mentioned in previous podcasts. And again, like-minded people, they love fitness. They also like to have a good time. They like the music. They like socialising. So there's a real common interest and common friendship there, which has helped us to settle here even better.
It has massively helped us. And equally, through making friends with them, they then introduced us to other people who introduced us to other people. So we very quickly have got a lovely, wonderful group of friends and people that if we need some advice or help, particularly here on the island, they say, oh, I know somebody, or I can help you, or I tell you what, I'll put you in touch with so-and-so. It's been absolutely wonderful, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit of networking there.
Yeah.
And we do that in business as well.
Yeah,
we could always go
it.
down that route. Actually,
networking.
Talking of friendships and business, our regular guest that's on with us quite regularly, Sally.
Oh, she's a co-director of
Guest,
Future
best friend, absolute best friends. But we met Sally again through your charity.
Yes, we did.
Connections with Breast Friends. And then that sort of overspilled into, can you help us with a business? We sort of got together over a cup of coffee, which became a glass of wine and a beer. And then a friendship came from that as well. So we're forever grateful to Sally for everything that she does for the business, but also for the friendship and the love that we get from her and her partner Matt as well. So we miss them guys as well, don't we? Come to Lanzarote soon.
But I'm going to drop something in here. We're talking about having a wide circle of friends, but also having that like-minded community and people that support you. Who do you think your best friend ever is?
Well, I think it's you. You're my best friend, absolutely. But I can see where you're going with this, because we've done a little bit of research earlier. And I went to a website called happiness.com.
Yes.
What a lovely name. I wonder what that's about. And this is talking about being your own best friend.
You do. You need to love yourself.
Yeah. So there's some little tips on here. I'm going to take them from the website. We're going to put our own words into this. We're not just going to plagiarise their website, but I think it's really good. So happiness.com said number one is getting to know yourself.
Yes.
So if you get to know who you are, then it helps you to move forward in life. And there is a big myth that a lot of people think that they know themselves inside out, but they don't always.
You don't always.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing to get to know yourself, because sometimes you'll think to yourself, do you know, I don't like that part of me, or I need to change that. It's great that you recognise it, because I know one thing, particularly through the lockdown, I sort of withdrew from socialising quite a bit and just got used to being on my own, and all of a sudden realised I don't want to do this. So I had to really look at myself and change and say, I'm going back out there. I need to see people.
I think a lot of us went through that, didn't we? So number 2 on their list is responding to your needs and finding things that you like to do and things that make you happy. And we've actually talked about that in previous podcasts, haven't we?
Yeah. It's all about that self-love, that self-care, and being your best friend.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And number 3 is understanding that being your own best friend isn't being selfish. We've used that phrase a few times, that self-care isn't selfish.
No.
And some people tend to worry that looking after yourself or being kind to yourself is selfish and it's arrogant. As long as you're not an arrogant person, it's not at all. You have to make sure that you look after yourself.
Yeah, and there's loads of different ways that you can do that. It can be minor little things like, for example, I'm going to have my nails done later. Now and again, I just give myself that little treat, and it might be something that just lifts me, makes me feel good about myself, or when I look at my nails or my hands and think, oh, they look pretty.
Yeah.
But it's just little things, and it doesn't have to be something like that. It could be going outside and going for a walk, watching nature, doing a good power walk and getting your heart rate up slightly, which then just lifts your mood.
Yeah, yeah,
Little
doing things that you like doing.
that you can really do just to look after your own mental health and how you view yourself.
I'm going to give you the next one, which is really, really, really important. So speak to yourself as you would speak to your best friend.
Oh, I love that one. And I remember on a podcast a little while back, the wonderful Lex Lovell, who comes on
Yes.
here quite a bit, one of the things that she recommended, it was exactly that. Be mindful, listen to the language that you speak to yourself with, because often how you speak to yourself, you would never speak to anybody else like that.
It's all about the power of positive language. We have a couple more here. We've already covered self-care, which is one on the list there. But I like this one. It says write a strengths CV. So write down all the things that are good about yourself, write down your qualities, and write down things that would make you a good friend to somebody else. So maybe think about your best friend. What do you offer them? Or maybe your life partner. Obviously, don't be modest and sit there and think, well, I can't say that, you know. Oh, I'm not that good at that. Just really go for it. And then maybe display it somewhere where you can see it every day.
Oh, that's a great tip, because we're talking about friendships and how good they are and what they give you as a person. But one thing to keep in mind is that don't forget that you enrich their lives as
Yeah.
well. You have got so many qualities within yourself. So that's a great tip. Write down those qualities that you have within a friendship and remind yourself if you're feeling a little bit flat.
Yeah.
Go and read that and think, yeah, I am a good person.
Which leads nicely to the next one, which is display a random act of kindness to yourself. We've talked a
Get your
little bit
nails
about
done.
self-care and getting your nails done. But yeah, it is that thing really, isn't it? It's about doing things that make you happy, or writing yourself a note. Maybe write yourself a letter and post it to yourself. And then when it arrives a few days later, you can open that letter and read it. And then the final one is about being honest with yourself. So it's just looking at things and thinking, okay, maybe that didn't go so well. How can I improve?
Yeah.
If it's a negative. Or I did that. What was the best thing I did today? What was the greatest thing that I achieved this morning? Or when I met with my friend, what did I do for them? How did I impact their life today? Or it might be a customer or somebody in school or a teacher. It could be something like that. But it's just doing a little assessment of honesty.
Yeah, that's a great tip there. And something that, just to finish on really, as we've spoken about this in previous podcasts, look at the people that you do surround yourself with and make sure that they are positive and like-minded people that will support you, that will help you through the good and the bad times. Because there is a saying, and it's very, very true, that you can't choose your parents or your family, but you can choose your friends. So that is something that you have control of. So if some of your friends isn't having that positive impact and perhaps quite the reverse, then maybe it's time to put a little bit of distance there.
Yeah, you don't have to say we are not friends anymore.
No.
It's maybe just realising that things aren't going in that same direction. And on the flip side of that, if there is somebody who's really, really impacting your life, strike up more conversations with them, be around them.
Tell them that
Tell
they
them
do that.
that they're that person. It could be somebody who's really, really successful, and you can say to them, look, you know, you're a really good friend. I really admire your success in whatever this area is. Can you help me? They're a good friend. They're going to say yes.
So yeah, we are eternally grateful for all the friends and family that we've got in our lives, whether they're from years ago or just brand new ones that we've met here.
Yeah, big shout out to our friends and also a big shout out to our listeners. So you can be friends of the Future Toolbox by going to our website and finding loads and loads of our tools at futuretoolbox.co.uk. We're also on social media, so you can befriend us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or go to our channel on TikTok. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's plenty of videos on there and great content. And we're also on LinkedIn because we are
Everywhere.
we are everywhere. So indeed, follow us. We look forward to catching you next week and have a great one.
Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us for the Z2A of Life Skills with Jules and Mark of the Future Toolbox. Don't forget to head over to their website, which is futuretoolbox.co.uk, where you can find lots of free resources, plus a host of books in the store, as well as subscribing to the membership site. Follow Future Toolbox Instagram, TikTok and Facebook at Future Toolbox, and subscribe to their YouTube channel too.